What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Tuesday morning. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. Hope everybody has an absolutely amazing day. I see you guys talking in the chat box. I absolutely love it. I want to welcome you to our session today. If you are watching this on the recording, do me a favor, click the thumbs up, hit the like, hit the subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let's go ahead and get into our markets for the day. Shrink my face here a little bit and get rolling. Yesterday, we had a breakout trade in the S&P, which we had a really, really nice move on that off that breakout move. Now, it did make it all the way up to our supply. Yeah, Dwight has not gotten his invite yet for the Traders Summit. I don't know. We'll see if he can make an appearance. I told him he could come to the. I told him he could come to the part where we sit around and drink. I think that's a good opportunity. Just come around to the part where we sit around and we have a few adult beverages. I think that's a good place for Dwight. I'm sure he might, Liz. All right, so looking at the ES. Now, yesterday we did look at a potential supply area up in here. We did get price moving into that supply level late in the day, but it came in the Globex session, and we had basing in front of the level. So what does that do, right? It makes that level very, very useless. So now we're going to look for an opportunity for today. One of the things I'm going to look at for today is, are we going to get a little bit of a pullback? And so I'm going to look to a potential breakdown below this 33.31. Now, overall, our 4-hour trend is now up, right? We've got a higher swing high as well as a higher swing low, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit deeper of a pullback into a quality area of demand. Now, I'm still going to need basing in order to make that pullback come into effect. And I don't think that this is a long-term trade. Matter of fact, you've got some really nice basing right about here, which is the London Open, where we can get a little bit of a reversal. So I like this as a potential reversal spot, 33.14 by 33.05. But I think there's a day trade in here from 33.31 down to 33.14. I think that's a really, really good move for a quick trade, a turnaround here, and then price to rally a bit higher. That stays us going with the trend for the bigger time period. But I'd be okay, by the way, if that basing occurred on a 15-minute chart in order to make my risk a bit lower. Overall, pretty good setup. I like that level right in here. Next, the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ yesterday, we came super close. We had our breakout trade, but then I said, well, if you didn't catch the breakout, look for a pullback. And quite literally, it came within, 3 points. What's our low on that trade? Our low on this was 11,226. So we came within just a few points of getting filled on this, and we're unable to get filled, and price moved away from that area. So while the level I think is still valid, I'm going to make this one a confirmation because we came so close to it without getting filled. I think that level still will work, but I like that for the pullback. Now, what about taking the short on this one for a short-term day trade? You can. I would say that it's probably going to be right about here, and so we're coming close to it right now. I wouldn't take it unless I get a bounce off of here and another little push higher, because I've got 1, 2. I need some basing or a bounce or something like that in order to make this breakout really make sense. Because my fear is that if I just come straight through here, then you're going to get a Globex trap reversal right here. See that little zone there? I think that could become a Globex trap reversal if you don't get the basing. Okay, so that's my thoughts on that level. Now, I'm going to put a potential breakout above the high as well, and when I look at the 4-hour chart, a breakout above that high would put us up into this area of supply, but we've already pulled off of that level once, so I think either one of those are pretty good, provided that I get some basing inside of those levels. Right, we got to get basing in front of the zone. Remember, when we're looking at breakouts, basing is the key. I have to have those. All right. Next, looking at the rut. So looking here at the Russell, our market is rallying up pretty hard. We've got a pretty strong move higher. As that higher move is continuing, we're going to look to a reversal in either this area or this area. When I go to the 1 hour time period, there is a little level just above this one, but I still like the 15 one a little bit better. And this hourly supply is clean here. As far as the breakdown goes that I talked about in the other markets, I don't really have it in the Russell. It's not as clean in the Russell as it is in those other markets. So I'm not going to put that one on for today. On the Russell, if we get a pullback into this region, I think this 1482 by 1480 is a very good, very clean level. And then the Dow, we are sitting in the Dow Jones above our hourly level that we looked at yesterday, 27,275 by 27,210. Still think that level's okay and valid, and would be waiting to see if we get a little bit of a pullback into that region for then price to rally higher. And the reason I'm looking for that as a decent pullback point is if I pull a fib on that, you'll note that that's right there between the 23.6 and the 38.2 retracement, right? So, I mean, we are right in between the 23.6 and the 38.2 retracement of our last big move higher. So that's a pretty clean spot where I think we could see price come back down into. All right. I know I went kind of quick this morning on equity markets, but thoughts on equity markets for today? What are your thoughts on these levels? I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to ask any questions that you might have. Okay. All right. I'm going to move off then. Post this in here. All right. Yeah, that's it. A small pullback before the next leg higher, and that's okay. That's the way a bull market would run. All right. Let's go take a look at commodities. What's up, Mr. Josh? Good to see you in here, brother. Long time no see, man. The Houston Astros are playing the Minnesota Twins. It made me think about you today. I thought about the baseball playoffs, and you came into my brain this morning. So good to see you in here, dude. All right, Josh, throw your podcast info in there, man, so everybody can know where it is, because you got a pretty good little show that you put out there every day. I'm not sure every day, but you got a pretty good little following going. You put out some good info. Let's see. Viral Video says an AutoCAD position. Will it break down from here, sir? I will take a look at that once I go through commodities. Viral Videos. I will do so. All right. So looking here at the CL, we have. Let me pop this up. So yesterday in the CL, we had talked about this as a confirmation entry. This confirmation entry, we did not make it into this level yesterday. Level is still technically valid, because it's not yet been broken. We came close to it, but unable to get there. And then the other thing that we talked about was, where is the best opportunity for a reversal, right? There it is. Thanks, Josh. Where is our best opportunity for a reversal? When I look at this 15-minute chart, how do we identify supply, right? We start at current price, we look up and to the left. Here's our current price. If I look up and to the left to the origin of a strong drop, technically we may have a little level right here, especially if this one continues to go down. So that's actually not out of the runnings. But when I look at this one, to me, that's a retest of this little area here. When I go a bit higher and I look at this one, this area is okay, but it's formed at a terrible time of day with a lot of basing inside of that region. And so now, as I come up to this one, this is a retest of this area over here to the left. And so none of the supply levels up here are anything to make me super excited. How about demand? Well, when I look at demand, I start at current price, I look down and to the left of the origin of a strong rally. Well, I've got this rally here. Well, this to me is a bit of a retest of this area here. Not quite perfect, but about that area of a retest. And so, looking below there, all of these are just noise. So my point behind that is that when I don't see anything super clear, I don't want to force it. Now, not yesterday, we didn't do this yesterday, but in our Sunday night trade room, we looked at doing an iron condor a 5-day iron condor. And in our 5-day iron condor, we were looking at the 42 by 38, which is, I think, $2 up, $2 down. That's an area that I was comfortable with that width. I'm not comfortable going any smaller than that. And it was only giving me a 13% return on that on Sunday evening. I don't feel like that risk is worth the reward on that trade. So I don't know that that's a really, really good setup for an iron condor. So for right now, I just think that we just sit on our hands when it comes to crude oil. Liam DeJong, I already went through the S&P 500. If you want to do a quick rewind, you can watch what I talked about in the S&P 500 stuff. But I feel like we may get a little pullback and then rally higher. All right, so gold yesterday. So in our gold position, we talked about this level right in here as a confirmation trade. And of course, it gave us a touch and go out of that level. So it didn't get my trade filled because I had a confirmation setup in here. And then we came back up into it and we popped above it, thus canceling the trade altogether. Does it mean that that level's dead to me? Not really. It means that now I can have a potential breakout above there if I get some basing here. Now, that breakout may not last long. It may only make it up to this region in here, right about 1903. So I've got a small move. But for a day trader, that's not a bad idea, okay? So go to the 15-minute, and I would have to see basing on the 15-minute chart for that third touch, okay? Now, our other level here that we talked about yesterday in gold was this small area right here where we had a nice little move away and then price just popped up above. Remember, if I get stopped out, I want to get stopped out quickly. I want to be wrong quickly. And that's exactly what we had here. This is what I call a great stop out. By the way, is there such a thing as a great stop out? Is there such a thing as a great stop out? Heck yeah, there's such a thing as a great stop out. A great stop out is one that I pick up a new trend because I get stopped out on a small time frame. And what if that stop out in that supply area was part of the build of upward momentum in gold that now allows me to catch the wider move up higher? So I don't look at stop outs as a bad thing, especially when I get a stop out on a 15-minute chart, because that tells me that I'm finding smaller levels and I'm okay with those smaller levels. Viral videos, I saw what you said. As soon as I'm done with my commodities, I will go look at I'll go look at currencies. I do commodities, and then I do currency futures, and then I'll do currency pairs. So I didn't forget you. I just have an order that I go in. All right. But I will say that the level that broke could become a retest level if price comes back into here. So let's use that area, 1877 by 1875, as a potential reversal. But I really like the breakout above 1896. Now, we get that breakout above 1896. What's that going to do? Well, that's going to give me, it's still not going to be I've got a higher high. A pullback down to here would actually give me a higher swing low, which would confirm the uptrend. Okay? Yeah, that's a good idea, Dennis. Reverse your position on the stop out to ride it the other way. That's, I don't do that particular style, but that's definitely something that's worth doing for those of you that trade in that way. I like that a lot, especially if you are comfortable in that reversal. So yesterday we had taken a look at this NG. Remember, we were on the NGX yesterday, not the NG. We were on the NGX because the at NG, the slash NG was not quite correct when it comes to the rollover. For some reason, TOS was rolled over the wrong way. If I look at this, we had a confirmation short. Now, the reason we had a confirmation short is because we already had a nice touch and go out of that level. So some of you caught the touch and go out of that level. We then switched it out of a confirmation, and then boom, price rallied through our confirmation. This is why we use confirmation levels. Interestingly enough, I want you to notice how that level, which was a supply zone, became an area where price just gravitated around and then reversed hard off of that level. So to me, this is how lines of control are formed. right? We talk about a line of control. This is now, I think 2778 is a line of control inside of nat gas, because you've got so many reversals at this point. I wouldn't be surprised to see us trade up to here again at all. I'm not saying I would take a short trading off of there again. Matter of fact, our best short is probably this little level right here, which we've just come off of, and I can't take it again because it's not going to be as clean. But I will look at this reversal area right here if price makes it back to that region. Those lines of control, price wants to trade back to those lines of control. Remember, what does the market exist to do, right? The market exists to facilitate trade, right? The market exists to facilitate trade, which means it's going to move to the area where there's the most supply and demand and the most unfilled orders. And so I think that that's why those lines of control become a very important thing to consider. Next is our copper position. We talked about copper yesterday and believing that our price had a better chance of continuing down. I still believe that our better chances of prices continuing to the downside. This here might be a bit obvious of a level, but I think it's okay to take a look at it if we get a little pop-up for a reversal this morning on this area here in copper. Taking a look yesterday at ZC, we had a corn level that was a very, very quick move off of this, off of this 15-minute little level here, unfortunately, and that was on that super strong rally in corn. Wheat didn't get it though. Wheat never got that same that same spike right back up with those two big green candles. And so when I look at something like this tells me, okay, this was definitely wiping out some traders. That's what that when I look at that, that's what I always look at. Man, it's telling us, all right, let's get up above here, let's get down below here, let's wipe out some positions, and now let's get back right to where we started. Right? I mean, that's what I see. And call me a conspiracy theorist, but remember, people are out to take money. I mean, that's what their job is to do, is to take the money from those who have their levels in other areas. And if you've got more money, you can just buy the pot. Kind of, anybody who's ever played poker understands the concept of buying the pot, and it sets up that opportunity to buy the pot. So, classic bear flag forming on the HG 240. Yeah, well, and that's what we talked about yesterday, was this move up and arrest, or move down and arrest, move down and arrest. And when we go back and think about our impulse move and corrective moves, Liz, right? Impulse move, corrective move, impulse move, corrective move, and the next leg should theoretically be an impulse move. For those of you that are Elliott wave people, isn't that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the fifth leg down, and then you get an ABC reversal? I'm not a huge Elliott wave guy, but I know that that's the premise behind the Elliott wave conversation. Once again, not my area of expertise. I know there's some people that are big on Elliott waves. All right. So I don't have a whole lot to add from a commodities talk track standpoint other than those ones there. I'm going to take a real quick grid share. Yeah, it does. There's definitely certain criteria that has to apply, which I'll be quite blunt. I don't follow those criteria and I don't use them. It's not a trading style I've ever used. What I've always found about Elliott wave is that it works really, really good after the wave is already completed, right? It works really well for me to go back in time and say, take a look at how beautiful this Elliott wave was. In the middle of the trade, I can never see that damn thing. And if you can, great. More power to you. I love you. But for me, it's just never been one of those ones that I find as it happens. Yeah, a little bit. All right, let's move over to currencies. I would say bonds and currencies, but screw, I've had enough of these bonds. It's not working for me. I'm going to start with Jose. Don't worry, I will do the New Zealand dollar. I see that you're in here, so I will do that for you this morning. Who was it? Was it Viral Videos asking for odd CAD? So I'll start with odd CAD for you. I don't know that I've ever looked at the Aus. Oh, I obviously have looked at the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, just not recently. So looking at the odd CAD level, AUD, CAD, our 4-hour trend is, our 4-hour trend has started a really strong spike higher. When I look at the daily time period, oh, those 2 bars are the worst. When I look at the daily time period, we're just coming off of a little bit of sideways that I think price is probably going to make it back up to that region. I can very well see price making it all the way back up to here. So how do I get back into it? Well, if I want to get back into it, obviously I would normally wait for a quality pullback to an area. The best trade was the breakout. All right, the best trade was the breakout, but once again, hindsight being 2020 and all, that's easy to see now. Would I be willing to chase it? Absolutely not. So on a small time frame, this is your best entry, which is the pivot area right here on a bit of a pullback. So 9506 by 9500, I think is your best entry if we get a pullback. I don't know that we're going to get that big of a pullback before we make it up to that area of supply we talked about in the 4-hour, which is up in here. There's that guy at Thinkorswim drawing those candles again just to screw us up. Anybody who was watching last week knows what we're talking about. All right. So that's the level that I would look at inside of this one. Let's move to the New Zealand dollar. So looking at the New Zealand dollar yesterday. Well, I appreciate that, Patrick. So yesterday we looked at this area here in the New Zealand dollar, and it did make it into our level at the 15-minute mark. However, it didn't get enough into the level for a confirmation short. So if you took the limit entry, then you got a good trade. In reality, I didn't get enough move in there for the confirmation entry to trigger, because a confirmation entry means I get triggered halfway in. Now, I'm okay with not getting triggered, and the reason for that is because even had we gotten into the trade, our stop would have to be up here. Our move away, that's a 1-to-1. That's a 2-to-1. Even had we gotten into the trade, we barely got a 2-to-1 at the maximum profit net level, right? So I'm okay missing out on something like this because the next time it came in, it blew through the level, giving us no reason to enter the trade because it was a confirmation. So I'm all right with that being a non-entry, right? So when I look at this area here, I see a higher swing low, right? That's a clear higher swing low on the 4-hour. And we've just gotten higher than this high. So now I'm looking for pullbacks to quality areas of demand as an opportunity to get long. And so this one, very clean right here. 6568 by 6565. So Amit, I think that should satisfy the level that you just asked about, because that's exactly where I'm looking for this for a reversal. I think that's actually super clean if we get a retest that deep. But it's okay for me as a limit entry with price coming back into there. Was that a great example of a breakout trade, the long that was missed? So, yeah, this would have been a nice breakout trade on the 15-minute time period. I don't know that it would have showed up on the hourly time period, but total transparency, this is a good opportunity for everybody that's in the UK. It's a good opportunity for everybody that's in Asia, but for the U.S. traders, it's not a good opportunity. Now, why do I say that? Why do I say that? That it's not a good opportunity for U.S.-based traders, but for everybody else it is. No. I know you're not being a smarty pants, John. I know that. Well, that's not it. Very good, Liz. Time of the day. Now, I say it's not good for U.S.-based traders. If you're a vampire, it might be good for U.S.-based traders, right? The problem is that what do I need to have before a breakout? What do I need to have immediately before a breakout? I need to have basing. And if I'm asleep, how can I take a good breakout trade if I'm not sitting in front of the computer? I can't. And I hate to say this, and I know it's so sexy for people to talk about, you know what, just set up your trades and forget about them and let them do their thing. I don't want to curse because there could be kids in the room. BS. I don't agree with that. And so many traders I know have gotten their butts handed to them, and they're losing money because they believe that you can just always do set it and forget it. And that's crap. It just makes me so fired up. I've got to be able to at least see my arrival into my zones. Now, sometimes, like what we had on Sunday night. Sunday night was a good example of a time when I could do set it and forget it. And the reason for that is because Sunday night, when we were looking at the level, we were looking at a breakout, and the market was already right here. So when we were looking at it Sunday night, we saw that it was basing. And when I logged off at about 9 o'clock, we had still been basing. At that point, I'm okay saying, all right, if we get above here, I'll take an entry with a stop right here because I knew I was basing. I went to bed and didn't even know I got filled because I typically fall asleep before my 6 and my 8-year-old. My wife and I are early to bed. And so it gets filled, great, it continues to run, and we wound up picking, over 30, 40 points off of that move just in a day trade. But for when we're looking at that currency position, there's no reason why you should take that one unless you're awake in order to see it. So, John, I really love that. I really love that setup, if you will, of the breakout if you're in front of it. Josh says looking to take that to 67.50. I would agree with that, Josh. I think that's a really good target, especially when I look at that on the 4-hour. When I look at that on the 4 hours, why I like it better as a target, because I think that none of this supply up here is very good. And then that gets you all the way up to this wick over wick area right here where you could start to see a bit of resistance. So on this 4-hour, none of these are quality enough supply, I think, in order to stop price. Now, remember, they are still supply. But if you want to take them as supply, you have to now take them as confirmation entries because we're trading against the big picture trend direction. So keep that in mind. All right, next in our Aussie position. So our Aussie trade yesterday, we did get an entrance into our Aussie position. Just taking a look at our Aussie trade, we entered the level of our hourly chart, and then what happened? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles later, we'd gone nowhere. So let's say that you take this trade, which, by the way, it gave us a pretty good setup. 6 candles later, we're sitting here, tells us, okay, we should probably get out of that position. Now, if you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night and it's only been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles, move your stop to break even and go to bed. Don't fret about it. I know traders that roll around in bed before. They're like, oh, am I going to get stopped out? Anybody ever lose sleep over a trade? If you've ever lost sleep over a trade, you can raise your hand, and it's okay. You're not the first. You won't be the last, but just don't do that, right? And this is a good example of, it hasn't done the 6 candlestick move yet, but I want to go to bed. Move your stop to break even. Go to bed happy. Now, our 15-minute level, we did get a nice move on our 15-minute level right up in here, and we tightened our stop pretty quickly, and then our target was 7074 and 7087. So here, very quickly, for those of you guys that don't know, at Traders Army, what we do throughout the day is we give trade updates, and as our trade updates happen, so in the Aussie, when we were at 70.48, we talked about moving our stop to break even or just below the entry pivot. And then our 2 targets were 70.74 and 70.87. So that's where we give the kind of the updates throughout the day on those trades that we're looking at. So, and then the next one was Canadian dollar, which was a nice little move. So let me go in and throw that one up. That's our next level for what we're going to look at for today. So in the Canadian dollar, this one in here was a quick little move off of this zone. I mean, it was super quick off of that zone. And then we popped down below here and then rocketed right up. Now, in this on this level here, remember our wick, our leg in was, if you took your stop down in here, you got a much larger move. But this one was a quick wick and then kind of move around that position. So now we've come up to the hourly level. We've come up to the hourly level of supply. Our trend has now potentially changed direction. And so if you took the short on this hourly level, it has to be a confirmation. I would say that the short on this hourly level doesn't have much of a chance of continuing down. I think that we're going to see at the most price making it down to here. And so I would look to see a reversal coming off of this. I'm an idiot. I thought that looked a little bit odd. Coming off of this level in here with price coming back down. Yeah, Canadian's the next, my next one. So look for price to kind of come down out of this region. I think we could come down into here as our target, but I think that's it. I think it's gonna slow down right about there if we get even that deep of a pullback. So when I go to the 4-hour here, because we're seeing that little bit of a base build, right? A little bit of a base building up in here. I agree, Dennis. I think it's setting up for a breakout, and I think we could see a little bit of a base build here and price moving higher. So I'm going to remove that level, and I think that we could see price moving a bit higher on this one. So if we do get that pullback, look to price potentially just making it down to here as the short and then rallying higher. I would even go candle to candle in this region down here. I think that's a good spot to go candle. I can't spell. Candler. It's a wicked candler. So look for a candle-to-candle setup on a pullback into this region off the 60-minute chart. Amit, are those fixed times when you update the trade? No, not really fixed times. It really depends on what Corey and I are doing. In all reality, we've got super busy on our lives, and so if our lives aren't too busy, then we get them out whenever we can. I mean, I'd love to give you a better answer. Joanne's cool at typing. Night. No, Joe, it's not super fresh on that euro. If we were going to get a reversal here, it's not fresh. I agree with that. But the reason that we would be willing to take that is only in a candle-to-candle style. I agree that's not fresh, especially with all those lower wicks. That's why I would be willing to go candle-to-candle. All right, so here's the Canadian dollar I was talking about with that 3-to-1 move away that we got. You got another touch into the level, and then another touch into the level. So what does that tell us when we keep touching the same level time after time after time? Viral videos, I already covered that one, man. I'm sorry, I missed you. You missed on that one. You may have to reverse. I did that one first. Yeah, it looks like it's a breakout. I'll go back and review it for you, viral videos, once I'm done. But I did that one first. It was my first commodities one, or my first currency one that I did. So yeah, let's look and see if we get some basing in here for a breakout to the upside. And if we do, I think you've got a built-in target right here at this area of supply. So I think, yeah, I agree, Joe. I think we're looking for a pop right up out of this region here. Great British Pound. Great British Pound, we're putting in a little bit of an up. Yeah, I will go over it once I'm done. Let me do the Great British Pound and the Japanese yen, and then I'll go back into that one. Great British Pound has given us a little bit of this rising lows here in the overnight. And slightly lower highs in here. But I think there's a chance that price is going to make it all the way up to this region here, which is where our best reversal now sits after this very strong move down. This might be a little bit obvious. Sometimes levels that are too obvious are ones that scare you. But, I mean, it's right at the London Open. Pretty good reversal point where I could see us making it up to that region. If you really, really want on a 15-minute chart, I think there's an argument for a breakout above here. And I'm going to go to a 15-minute chart because I'd want to see tight basing. We have 1 touch, 2 touch, right? If I get tight basing in here on a 15-minute, I think then you could get a move up to this region. And then Japanese yen. Our Japanese yen level yesterday, we broke through here without giving us a really clean entry. If you took the entry, then you probably got a small stop out, but it didn't give you a good entry because you didn't have the exit out of that position. But price is definitely moving down on this. If you are a very short-term day trader, I think you've got a breakout trade on this little symmetrical triangle forming right here. And I would say it's a breakout to the downside is probably the better setup. If you're not as short-term of a trader, then you want to look for the reversal up to here. Either one, I would definitely go towards the short with my target being right down in here. And then let me go back viral videos to your Aussie CAD. So on the Aussie CAD, I was looking on a 4-hour chart at price making it up to here as our target, and then I'm looking for a reversal. If price breaks down, coming down to here for a reversal for an opportunity to get long, getting higher. So that's what I was looking at in the Australian Canadian dollar, which is 9,500 by 9,506 at that 15-minute level. Joe, the trend for Japanese yen is down. Agreed. The trend for Japanese yen is still down, and it's not showing the same 4-hour strength that some of our other currencies are. And so that's why I like the trade coming down to here as our price target. I think that's a pretty good trade. All right. So those are our currencies. Throw those here in the trade update. Okay, so that's our currencies that we have in here. Real quick, wanted to make sure before I go that everybody, I'm going to keep telling you about it because I want to make sure that everybody gets, if you go to tradersarmy.com/trader summit, don't forget to get registered if you're not already done so for our upcoming Trader Summit on October the 15th. This is going to be a kick-ass event. Pardon my expression. No, don't pardon it. Share it with all your friends. We got a lot of really good presenters that are gonna drop some knowledge on you. You know, specialists from barchart.com, GPM Management, Top Step Trader, Bulls and Bears Radio, and then of course the guys from Traders Army. We're gonna present some stuff to you as well. So it's gonna be awesome. I hope you guys are able to make it and join us. Please share the link with others. I know some of you guys are in Trader Discord groups and Trader WhatsApp groups and Trader Facebook groups. Please share it out to those groups. I can only fit 1,000 people in the room, you know, which sounds like a lot. Well, it's not all that much when you talk about online attendance. So we can only fit the first 1,000. So get it out there to the people that you know first before I really market it to the general public. You know what? At the end of the day, we sit around and we have some drinks and we answer whatever questions. I'm thinking Dwight may make an appearance. We'll see. So, viral videos. You want me to take a look at the dollar Swissy? Yeah, we can do that. I got another minute or so. I can do that. USD, CHF. So looking at the dollar Swiss. Oops. I'm glad you guys like them. I really, and for those of you that have not been to one, normally those summits, when you go to like the Money Show or the Traders Expo, it's just a bunch of people pitching their own products. That is not what we do. One of the things that I ask all the presenters to do is to give a lot of educational content and not to make it a sales pitch, which I know is tough for some people. And frankly, I've had people tell me no, that I've tried to get to come and speak because they want to be able to give a sales pitch, and I won't bend on that. I want to give really good educational content, so that's also important for me. It's one thing to do a little call to action or tell people about it, but it's another thing to give a freaking 1-hour pitch. So, well, I'm glad, Dennis. I'm glad you like those. Those are my favorite part, mostly because I just like hanging around and talking to people. All right, so here on our Swissy, we are definitely in an uptrend. We've got our 4-hour supply up here, our 4-hour demand right here. We are getting a bit of a pullback on this 4-hour Swiss, and so when I look at the most recent trend, and I look at my retracement amounts, I bet you that's at the 78.6. So this one's sitting right at the 78.6 retracement, but right here at the 61.8 or 50%, no, 61.8, excuse me. Right here at the 50% retracement, we have a line where I could see us reversing right in here. So I think that this right here sets up for what we call a candle-to-candle potential entry point on the 4-hour chart. That's where I would look for a candle-to-candle reversal off of what essentially is an old area of resistance that I think is very likely to act as support. So somewhere in here, I would take a look for that. Okay? So keep that area as an opportunity inside of there. All right. That's a great point, John. So let's talk about that. So could the debate move the equity market? I don't think so. I don't think that the debate is going to move the market all that much. And the reason for that is because I think we already know what people are going to say, right? In all reality, I don't think anything that comes out tonight is going to be surprising. It's going to be, there's going to be mud flying all over the stage. It's going to be a hot mess. I don't think anything is really going to be much of a change to, Donald Trump is going to throw Joe Biden under the mud for being too old and incoherent and too far left. Joe Biden's going to throw Donald Trump under the bus for not paying his taxes, for being wrong on the coronavirus, and for being a loudmouth person nobody likes. I don't really care what happens. I actually am interested in turning it into a drinking game tonight. There are a lot of them out there. You can go find a debate drinking game on Google, and it is definitely going to be more entertaining. So, listen, Liz, I totally agree. I am, by the way, I am not a super pro Trumper. I am not a super pro Bidener. All I want to do is trade the market with whoever's in charge, right? Yeah, Josh, NBA Finals might actually be a better way to go. I only want to watch it for a drinking game because I think it'll be funny. That's it. That's the only reason that I like it. So some buddies of mine and I may get together and do just that because we found some things like every time Trump says huge or China, you take a drink. So it's a pretty good deal. All right, everybody. Well, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing day. Will we be back tomorrow? Same time, same channel. I appreciate all of you all so much for joining us on today's session. And then if you guys have any questions, as always, shoot me an email, chuck.fulkerson@tradersarmy.com. Go Twins, Josh says. Hey, I'm hoping the Stros get the win because Lord knows I'm wearing my Pirate shirt in mourning because my Pirates may never make the playoff again in my natural life. So, all right, everybody, have a great day. Talk to you soon.